The forest of Epsilon Prime was not like any forest on Earth. Jae-won Kim knew this the moment he stepped off his research shuttle. Green wasn't green here. The leaves glowed with soft blue and purple lights, changing colors like strange living things. Each step he took made weird sounds, not the usual crunch of leaves, but a soft, wet whisper that seemed almost alive. Jae-won checked his equipment for the 100th time. His research pack was heavy. Small sensors blinked and beeped, tracking everything around him. He was supposed to be alone. The planet's maps showed no intelligent life, no dangerous creatures, just plants and strange insects. But something was wrong. He felt eyes on him, not just a feeling, a real sharp sense that someone or something was watching. His neck tingled. The small hairs on his arms stood up. Jae-won stopped walking and listened. Silence. Then a sound, just a tiny movement, a branch breaking, but not by wind. Something was moving carefully, trying not to make noise. Something big. His hand moved slowly to the small laser weapon on his belt. Researchers weren't supposed to carry weapons, but Epsilon Prime was strange, and something told Jae-won he wasn't alone anymore. The forest around him seemed to hold its breath. The glowing leaves stopped moving. Even the weird insects went quiet. Something was coming, something that didn't want to be heard. Jae-won took a deep breath. His heart raced. Whatever was coming, it was close, very close. And then he saw her. A figure moved between the glowing trees. Not human, not like anything he had ever seen before. Armor that changed colors like the leaves. Moving so quietly that she seemed to float rather than walk. Eyes that caught the light like a cat's. The warrior woman had found him. Jae-won didn't move. He knew moving would be a mistake. The warrior woman could kill him faster than he could pull his weapon. Her armor looked like it could stop bullets, lasers, maybe even small explosions. She was tall, much taller than a human. Her skin, if it was skin, looked like it was made of metal and living tissue. Colors shifted across her body, matching the forest around her. One moment she blended with green leaves. The next, she matched the purple shadows. "Who are you?" Jae-won finally said. His voice sounded weak. Scared. She didn't speak, not in words he could understand. Instead, she made a sound. Part click, part whistle, like a bird and a machine talking at the same time. Then something else happened. A massive shape broke through the trees. Metal gleamed. Machines moved. It wasn't from this forest. It wasn't alive. But it was hunting. The warrior woman moved faster than Jae-won thought possible. One moment she was standing still. The next, she pushed him behind a large rock. Energy weapons fired. Blue-white light cut through trees like they were paper. "Stay down," she said. Her translator made her words sound flat. Cold. Jae-won understood two things at that moment. First, this warrior woman had just saved his life. Second, they were now in serious trouble. The machine kept coming. It didn't care about trees. Didn't care about anything except finding its target. Finding them. "What is that?" Jae-won whispered. The warrior woman's eyes never left the machine. "Death," she said simply. "And we are its target." During a momentary respite, Jae-yun explained her mission. The machine was an autonomous hunter-killer, part of an ancient technological network that had been systematically eliminating intelligent life across multiple star systems. Her people, a warrior race dedicated to protecting emerging civilizations, had been fighting this threat for generations. Jae-won realized he was no longer just a researcher. He had become an accidental participant in an interstellar conflict that predated human civilization by millennia. The warrior woman didn't wait. "Stand up," she commanded. "I will teach you to stay alive." Jae-won was tired, scared, but he stood. His legs felt like water. She moved quickly, showed him how to walk without making noise, how to step on certain plants that would hide his body heat, how to breathe quietly. Your breath gives you away, she said. Machines track heat, track sound. You must become invisible. She touched his research pack. Remove useless things. Added strange devices from her own gear. A small disc that could block heat signals. A spray that made skin look like tree bark. What's your name? J1 asked. Warrior, she said simply. Then added, Hannah. My name is Hannah. Hannah moved like water. One moment she was standing still. The next, she was gone. Then back again. Teaching. Watching. Always watching. She showed J1 how to read the forest. How to see things humans normally missed. A leaf bent the wrong way. A branch broken by something heavy. Small signs that danger was near. Your eyes are weak, Hannah said, but you can learn. The machine was still out there, hunting them. But now J1 wasn't just running. He was learning. Why are you helping me? He asked. Hannah looked at him. Her three-colored eyes seemed to look through him. Because you are here. Because you are alive. And because some things are bigger than one person. A distant sound broke the forest quiet. The machine was moving again. We must move, Hannah said. Now, the cave was small, cold. J1 spread his research papers on the ground. Numbers, graphs, strange symbols from Epsilon Prime's ecosystem. Hannah watched him. Her eyes never blinked. I know something about this machine, J1 said. His finger moved across a diagram. It's not just a weapon. It's a hunter with a brain. Hannah leaned closer. Her armor made soft clicking sounds. Explain. J1 drew lines. Connected dots. It uses something called quantum entanglement. Like a spider web, it can track multiple targets at the same time. Feel them. Know where they are. Hannah's hand touched the diagram. Her fingers had small metal tips that glowed softly. How do we break the web? We need to mess up its tracking system, J1 said. Send a signal that breaks its connection. Like cutting all the strings of a spider web at once. Outside, the machine made a sound. Metal scraping against rocks. Searching. J1 pulled out a small device. It looked like a normal research tool. But his hands moved quickly. Changed settings. Rewired connections. This might work, he said. But we have to get close to the machine. Very close. Hannah smiled. It was the first time J1 had seen her smile. Getting close is what I do best. The machine outside moved again. Closer this time. Hunting. We have one chance, Hannah said. One moment to stop it. J1 nodded. His hands were steady now. No more shaking. No more fear. They were ready. The forest went quiet. Too quiet. Hannah moved first. Her body became like the trees, changing colors, blending in. J1 followed her steps. He tried to move like she taught him. Quiet. Careful. The machine was big, bigger than a house. Metal legs cut through trees like they were paper. Its body was full of weird lights. Blue, red, green. Lights that moved and changed. Now, Hannah whispered. J1's hands held the small device. It looked like nothing. Just a small metal box with blinking lights. Hannah attacked first. She jumped. Her body was a weapon. She moved so fast that she looked like a blur. Energy shots came from her arms. Not from a gun. From her armor itself. The machine turned. Its eyes were big circles of moving light. It saw Hannah, tracked her movements. But it didn't see J1. While the machine focused on Hannah, J1 moved. Slow steps, careful breathing. His research training helped. He knew how to move without making noise. The machine's metal legs moved, crashed into trees, made sounds like thunder. Hannah jumped, rolled, attacked again. J1 was close now, very close. One moment. That's all he needed. His hand reached out. The small device touched the machine's metal skin. For a second, nothing happened. Then everything changed. Smoke filled the forest. Broken trees lay everywhere. The machine was dead. Not just stopped. Completely destroyed. J1 sat on a fallen tree. His hands were shaking. Not from fear anymore. From something else. Excitement. Pride. Hannah watched him. Her armor was torn in places, but she looked calm. Strong. "We did it," J1 said. His voice sounded different. Not like the scared researcher from before. Hannah nodded. "You are not what I expected." J1 looked at her. "What did you expect?" "A weak human," she said simply. "Someone who would run. Hide. Die." He laughed. It was a small laugh. But real. The forest around them was changing. Glowing plants were already growing over the machine's broken parts. New life coming from destruction. Hannah touched her arm. A hologram appeared. More information about the hunters. More dead worlds. More battles. "How long have you been fighting?" J1 asked. "Longer than your entire human history," Hannah said. Her three-colored eyes looked tired, but strong. J1 realized something. He was different now. The research mission didn't matter anymore. Something bigger was happening. "What happens next?" he asked. Hannah looked at the broken machine. Then back at J1. "We prepare. More hunters will come." The forest seemed to listen. Trees moved. Leaves changed colors. The world was watching them. J1 stood up. No more shaking. No more fear. He was ready. The ship was small. Old. But it worked. J1 looked out the window. The forest of Epsilon Prime was getting smaller. Disappearing. Hannah sat next to him. Her armor was different now. Repaired. Improved. "Where are we going?" J1 asked. "To fight," Hannah said. "To stop the hunters." The ship's computer showed maps. Hundreds of worlds. Some alive. Some dead. Some waiting. J1's research pack sat in the corner. It wasn't just a research pack anymore. Now it was a toolkit. A weapon. Something important. "How many worlds have the hunters killed?" he asked. Hannah touched a screen. Numbers appeared. Thousands, maybe more. "Not just killed," she said. "Stopped, prevented from growing, from becoming something more." The ship moved through space. Stars looked like tiny dots. Cold. Bright. J1 thought about Earth. About the people who would never know what he was doing. What he had become. "We are not heroes," Hannah said. She could read his thoughts somehow. "We are just doing what must be done." A signal came. Another hunter. Another world in danger. J1's hands moved quickly. Checking systems. Preparing weapons. He was different now. Not just a researcher. Something more. Hannah looked at him. Her three-colored eyes showed something new. Respect. Maybe even trust. The universe was big, dangerous, full of things humans didn't understand. But they were ready. Asterisk somewhere in the darkness. Another world waited. Another fight was coming. Asterisk.